residence of a priority offender. During the search, officers discovered a computer that was stolen from a recent break-in. Physical evidence later linked another associate of this suspect's back to the same case. It was actually a break-in from one of our schools. But this simple example kind of highlights by working together, you have community corrections that are doing their job. We're there with them. We're able to get a piece of stolen property that comes from a break-in, and through prioritization to our crime lab, we're actually able to link that case to another associate. So that you have two suspects that will be taken into custody. So this case is actually still being worked on, but I think that's a good and simple example for you. In closing, we all have an obligation to the community to do our part to reduce crime. Post strategy is really, truly about communication and all agency aligning priorities. And I think we've done that with the ultimate goal to hold these offenders accountable, to get them off the street, make our streets safer. And we're going to continue that in 2010. As always, we're constantly reviewing the way that we do business, our different strategies and tactics. We'll be looking at posts to see if there's any way we can improve it. So that's where we're at for now.
All right, before I open up to questions, I would like to, again, thank our partners, Community Corrections. They're going to be available for one-on-ones after this is over, as well as the District Attorney's Office. We have members from both of those partners. All right, what are your questions?
What's the biggest obstacle that this faces? When you have your bi-weekly meetings and you all sit around the table and talk about progress, what's the biggest obstacle that keeps coming up in these meetings that you're trying to find a way to overcome?
Well, I think the beauty of the strategy is we've overcome the biggest obstacle, which was cross-divisional communication. And also, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but the partnership that we have with our partners, Community Corrections and the District Attorney's Office. We'll take a case to the District Attorney's Office, and they'll fast track that case so that we can quicker resolve and get that case to disposition. So I think the main thing was communication, and the chief's post strategists help us overcome that.
Well, then maybe in a perfect world, what do you guys need to do a better job?
In a perfect world, we need criminals to stop offending in our jurisdiction. I mean, truly, we know we're going to have crime at some level, but what we've seen is, as the major said, by having the same priorities as the DA's office, for instance, so that when we get a good case from somebody and take it to them, and they prioritize that case as well, it's very effective for us. So what I'm telling you is this strategy itself is very successful because of the collaboration that we have. And again, I don't know that we'll ever have a perfect world, but I think the work that we're doing is as good as we can get it. As the major said, our goal is to constantly improve, and that's what we're doing.
And I think we all realize that we do have to set priorities. The goal is common. The common goal is to reduce crime in the community and put these offenders in jail. But it's hard to do that unless you do set some kind of priorities. And we're all separate agencies, so we're not aligned naturally. So we have to come together to make sure we do align those priorities. And I think we're doing that.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Sure.
When someone is identified as a post-offender, is that information known at the person's bond hearing? Is the judge made aware of that?
We really don't. Our big concern is not necessarily the fact that he's a post offender really don't mean anything to them. What does mean something is the impact that they're having in the community, and that's why we want our officers going to the bond hearings, and that's why they relay this information to make sure they have all the information that they can about this subject. Now, the DA's office may know, the judge may or may not know. Like I said, they want to hear facts about what they're doing. That makes sense?
And for the judges, we're not telling them, hey, this guy's a post person. What we're saying is the reason this guy's a post person, which is the impact he's having on the community, the record, and everything else. So we're not designating them as posts for bond hearings, but we're giving them the reasons that they're on our list as a post person.
How quickly in the process would that person be identified as such, though?
For whom? For us?
Yeah, I mean, at what point do y'all decide, oh, this is somebody we need to put priority on? Is it as soon as you're looking at the report and you see the guy is arrested?
No, the people who are prioritized are from the officers in the divisions, talking to the community and seeing what's going on there, knowing that these are people who are constantly committing the crimes or suspecting of doing so. So they'll submit those names, and that's how we prioritize the people.
Oh, okay, and so then when that person is arrested, you know.
Absolutely. We know that this is somebody that's a priority for us. We want to make sure the case is as good as it can be, and then we relay that information to the district attorney's
Okay,
office.
one more thing.
Sure.
These arms of justice have always worked together. And is it just that communication is better, you're scheduling these meetings? Or is that to say that things were not working well in the past? Do you see what I'm
Well,
getting at?
yeah, we do work together, but we don't have the same goals sometimes. Our goal is, in thresholds, probable cause for us, not beyond a reasonable doubt. So we're not always going to agree on what should happen with a certain case, and I think that's a good thing. But the communication has really, and the aligning of parties has really strengthened our partnership, because we do agree that some people, the repeat offenders in particular, are really having a greater impact in these neighborhoods than others, and those should be the people that we focus on.
Was it just that you weren't communicating well before?
Well, I think the issue is we didn't have similar priorities sometimes. That was really the issue before. Yes, sir.
In terms of how people are labeled post-offenders, is there a criteria in terms of number of arrests, or does it vary?
It does vary. Number of arrests matter, but the activity of this person right now. If we might not have arrested this person, but he's consistently or she's consistently a suspect in criminal activity. This person may have the lengthy history or may not. It's just, it really comes down to what the community and what our officers out in that community believe the people to be doing. And if that's backed up with arrests, if that's backed up with catching them in the act, and those kinds of things, those are all criteria that we look at. It's not necessarily the chronic offender, the long history. It's the people who are actively offending right now.
But just to be clear,
Yes, sir.
there's no checklist. Someone gets on it, you've been arrested this many times.
No. It's a litany of things, but there's no checklist. Like we're going to look at your past. We're going to look at, most importantly, what you're doing right now. We're going to look at the number of times we suspect you to be doing that. So it's a litany of things. It's not necessarily a checklist.
I think that's one of the good things about it is there's not a set criteria. We're looking at many things. And we're really interested in what our officers are telling us and what they're getting from the community about these people.
Because in the past, let's be honest, we focused mostly on violent offenders. We still work and do work on violent offenders, but we've seen a transition from violent crimes to property crimes. So the way our criteria allows us to have that flexibility.
And you may have said this, but tell us one more time how many people are on the list, roughly. How many people?
We did not say how many people on the list. No, we talked about the people who were arrested last year, the numbers of who's arrested last year. The number on the list fluctuates.
We talking hundreds?
Yes, we're talking. Actually, if you really looked at the full list of people, we're over a couple thousand.
Over a couple thousand?
You got electronic monitoring, all people in electronic monitoring. You got people who are priority for community corrections. We got a lot of people who are on the overall list, and that list is well over a couple thousand people.
And you have to remember too is if somebody's not active and we learn that, we think they are, we get good information that they are, we're not going to leave them on there. I mean, they're going to be removed because we don't have time. Again, we want to have the greatest impact for the quickest period of time.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I was going to ask about. You guys said back in August, you let these people know, hey, we have our eye on you. The community
Absolutely.
is talking about you.
Yes.
So have officers seen positive results of people saying, this is great, I can't get away with anything? Maybe they, I don't know, find other things to do.
We consistently get anecdotal evidence along those lines. We have people who tell us that it's too hot in this jurisdiction and they're going to go elsewhere. We also have people who are on electronic monitoring who have that structure and who know that we're going to be looking at them